Thank you for your attention. You who are the one we have been waiting for. So, the A.U.M, the African Unity Movement, is the latest expression of our centuries-old yearning to be free. Ever since the whites invaded our lands, kidnapped and enslaved us, and cast us throughout what we now call the diaspora, we have yearned to be free and have organized our yearning into different forms of resistance: revolution, civil disobedience, voting, breaking a hold on the plantation, legislation, litigation, acting up, social unrest, urban rebellion, list goes on. So the African Unity Movement, the A.U.M, is just the latest, most sophisticated iteration or incarnation of that centuries old spirit of resistance. Now, we are fortunate in that our time has come. Cosmological and earthly forces, most especially social and political and economic, align to make our probability of success, our triumph, greater than ever. But of course, there are forces allied against us. So we act proactively. During the Black Liberation Movement of the 70s, we knew enough to seize the moment, but not enough to protect it. Now we have learned from our history, and so, as I say, we proceed proactively so as not to make the mistake of the past. So, in order for us to succeed, there are 4 or 5 basic elements I'm going to share very, very briefly. 1, we must know the nature of the beast. Essentially, the white race, the white man, the white subjugationism is egocentric. Of course, this is the flip side of its profound insecurity, but we see this egocentrism manifest itself in the culture of individualism, or nationally and internationally as tribalism. Americans, Europeans, Western Europeans as opposed to the Eastern Bloc, or the British United Kingdom as opposed to Europeans. And of course, within the European Union itself, which is fragmenting, we see civil war, most notably the Ukraine, or widespread class warfare in France or Spain, just name a couple. And the EU itself, as I say, is dissolving. Britain has already left, and other countries are considering exiting as well. So the white race is egocentric. The only time it is not tribal is when its whiteness is arrayed against us. So that's one thing to understand. I'll return in a moment to why it's important. The second thing is that we must bring massive firepower onto specific targets. Now, as a disclaimer for the NSA or FBI or whatever other agency or minion of the beast might get a hold of this, I do not mean military firepower. Rather, I mean that figuratively. That we must concentrate massive firepower, better yet, massive people power onto specific targets. The third thing, of course, is how do we do this? Well, we become the Amazon of organizations. We already talked about how the A.U.M aspires to be the A.U.M umbrella of organizations under which all other organizations, bodies, group, individuals unite and act as one. But one way to conceive it is we are the Amazon of organizations. So, how do we achieve this? You already know. We reach out to every black person and group that is interested in doing more than prattling about racial justice and saving the world. When we do reach out to organization heads, if they are church leaders, imams, whatever the faith might be, or whatever civic group it could be, it might be the little black old lady group of tulip growers, it makes no difference. Whenever we do get a leader or organization head to unite with us, it is important that we get them to declare it. Like, I am the pastor so and so of the church so and so, and I am united with the A.U.M. Or I am the regional vice president of the Black People's Party, and I am united with the A.U.M. See, that's one of us that the person has his arm or her arm around, right? Okay? This is, of course, of enormous motivational value because people are encouraged when they see that others are riding with you. So that's what we do. We reach out to organization heads, no matter what the group, as long as they are committed to doing more than just mouthing platitudes about freedom, you know? And of course, we even give a chance to show. We may assume that they're just talking. We give them a chance to see if they are really committed to doing some real work. Now, the only group I have some hesitance about is the homosexual community. You know, you guys figure that out. If we should reach out to them also. I know they're black, so very many of them, but you guys reach out to that, and rather think about that and reach out to me, and All right. So we organize them the way we organize them. Some of this could be done online. As somebody said, a bunch of somebody said, in fact, myself included, we had to make lists. We make lists of all those organizations that, have any semblance of blackness about them, no matter what their formation. We find these organizations through what we know, but we look online. We could research deliberately, or during the course of our social media activity, we come across a YouTube channel or Facebook page or Instagram, whatever it is, that talking our language, write them on a list. The same thing is true for all potential media outlets. Newspapers, magazines, radio stations, local TV stations, national TV stations, we got that kind of in, podcasts, live streams, YouTube channel, it makes no dang difference, right? Anyone who has any kind of voice, we consider media, and we want you to write them on a list, and together we'll look, sift through that, and we see who we're going to reach out to. There are there's so many media possibilities, right? Of course, this is so that we can be put on blast, just saturate the airwaves, so that everybody knows about us, right? All right. So we also use the Care Alliance, which is a really gorgeous, powerful, beautiful initiative in itself because it's addressing the needs of our people in real time on the ground, directly addressing suffering. So for that alone, we support it. But also, the Care Alliance is organizing so many disparate individual groups and businesses into one alliance so that now, rather than having to organize them ourselves, we just reach them through the Care Alliance. And the Care Alliance, or rather the businesses or groupings in the Care Alliance, they commit to the A.U.M, or at least we ask them to. I don't see why they would refuse. But they commit to the A.U.M. And in any case, all of those who do commit to the A.U.M, they promote us, support us, and do the work by inviting every patron who comes through their doors, everyone they associate with, inform them about the AUM, and invite them to join us. You see? Of course, as Michael said, we have some kiosks in there. We probably can have some posters as well. We could figure that out so that our presence is conspicuous. You did with creating a brand. To use another unspiritual, unafrocentric term, right? All right. So, to do this, we need all matter of promotional paraphernalia. I've been playing with some designs for t-shirts. Now, if anyone knows how to design or has some ideas about designs, please let me know. Because frankly, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. You see, so I invite somebody to, help or advise. We could have, to take a page, another page from Michael, wristbands, clipboards, name tags. Definitely, we can have cards, not just business cards. So perhaps that may not be bad. I do like to have e-cards, but because of the work we're doing, we may have to just compromise and get some physical business cards. But also ID cards so that we become literally card-carrying members of the A.U.M. Right? Now, we also need, I hate to say it, perhaps a Google phone number. This is, of course, is a weak link in Achilles' heel. Maybe we can figure out a way to get a phone number without the vulnerability of Google's mercy. We do have an email already. We do have an Instagram, though it needs to be managed better. I need to talk to somebody about that as well. I'm not sure if the Facebook or Twitter are still up and running. We can look at that as well. But we need all of these different outlets to organize, right? Also get the voice out, the word out. Yeah? Okay, so that is that. Oh, so the last thing is targets. I've said that the white race is completely egocentric. This means that it is, because of its profound insecurities, very image conscious. If you know any white folks who are just regular white folks who have no social consciousness, political consciousness, you know what I'm talking about. Very, very image conscious. They always got to be right, this kind of stuff, right? Always got to shine, right? And what's true of the white individual is true of the white nation. Now, we see this in this slogan that America promulgates about being the leader of the free world. That is very important to it. Not just for its national psyche, but also for the way the world relates to it. Right now, the United States is very concerned about its international reputation. That is, its bragging rights about being democratic. Down the road, perhaps, it may not care at all, but right now, this is very important to us, so we can definitely exploit that. Psychological warfare goes back to the beginning of warfare. If you have any questions about this, then we could talk at length, but this is absolutely very, very significant. It's very much one of our targets. We see domestically, the flip side of this leader of the free world, the slogan that demonstrates the egocentrism I'm talking about, is this notion of American exceptionalism. We know this is for domestic consumption because every time some foreign country hears of it, they point at America. What do you mean that you're exceptional? What are you saying about us? That you're better than us, you see? So clearly, this is not a conception meant for the international air. Rather, it's meant for American domestic consumption, so as, of course, to socially engineer people into compliance because I'm American. Whatever we do, it's good because we're exceptional. That kind of nonsense, right? Okay. So the thing is that this too is a target that so many whites, because they have done no work on their whiteness, they do not know they have this disease called whiteness, therefore have not endeavored to break free of it. For so many of them, we can expose them with our massive concentration of people power, our education information campaigns, and the hypocrisy and brutalities of the white status quo that they love so much. We can expose them and make them look in the eyes and say, oh shit, that's not really so good after all. And so many of them will say, well, and so what? They don't care. By the same token, though, because there has been about a century and a half of shared prosperity, very many whites have been humanized. You see this not just from now current events with the George Floyd rebellion, most especially, but from the slave era to the Black liberation era, what we call, or wrongly was called, the Civil Rights era. We see whites who have been engaged humanely, humanistically, in opposing injustice. So they can be reached as well. But foremost, our chief target, the main battlefield, is in the hearts, or for the minds, the psyches, the subconscious, the conscious, the spirits of our people. You see? Let me rewind the tape. So I said earlier we got to do pre-sales. Pre-sales before you get to brick and mortar. The only thing that's required for the brick and mortar, for the pre-sales, is that we are very definite and clear about what it is we're selling. So, if we are, then we know that this is a spiritual process. The dynamics are spiritual, the elements are spiritual, and that this is what we are endeavoring to awaken and evoke in our people. You see? We get the clarity of what we need to do as a movement, organization. Then that gives us the clarity on how we relate to our people. All right. So, and economically, let me not forget. So this is also one of the main targets that we attack. Massive concentration of people power disrupting the economy. We can do this in 10,000 different ways. But those are our targets. The ego or national image of the beast. We bring massive concentration of people power on specific targets. We become the Amazon of organizations, and our targets are the ego, the beast, national image, the hearts and minds of our people, hearts and minds of whites, for that matter, and of course the economy. You see? United, it is impossible to fail. Since we last met, we have more forces allied with us than before. And everyone who hears about us is enthusiastic, excited, ready to commit. All that's required is that we do the work. I love you. Our time has come.